The promotion I had been assured would be mine once the project was delivered without a single flaw never materialized. Grant Kellerman stood in front of the entire operations division and handed it to someone else, as though the promise he made to me had never existed. I watched him clasp Marissa Cole's hand, watched the applause swell around us as if nothing were wrong, and felt something inside me shut down completely. I didn't protest. I didn't break. I waited until the room emptied, returned to my desk, and typed a resignation that took up just 2 lines. There was no speech, no dramatics, only the truth and a courteous wish for luck. When I placed the envelope on his desk, Grant looked up with a frown, irritation flickering across his face like I had interrupted something far more important than me. He tore it open immediately. I heard the rip of paper, felt my pulse hammering in my ears. Then his expression changed. Confusion twisted into disbelief, disbelief into alarm. "Avery," he said, "is this some kind of joke? Please tell me this is a joke." I stood there, arms relaxed at my sides. "It isn't." He shoved his chair back, the scrape loud and harsh. "You can't just leave, not now, not after everything you're running. You're the only one who understands the Aurora retrofit workflows." His voice faltered at the end, betraying more than he meant to reveal. "So you do need me?" I asked quietly. "That's not what I said," he snapped. "You're just upset. Take a day, cool off. You can't throw away your future over one decision." I met his eyes. "You made promises you never planned to keep. That's what I'm walking away from." He pressed his palm against the letter as if he could physically stop it from becoming real. "Avery, Marissa's new. She can't handle your responsibilities yet. The clients—" I stepped back. "I hope your luck finds you quickly." His mouth opened, but nothing followed. That was the moment he realized that betraying me was the same as surrendering control. I walked out knowing his panic was only beginning. 6 months before that letter ever reached his desk, Grant had stood beside my workstation at North Star Precision with absolute confidence in his voice. "Avery, you're the only one I trust with the Aurora retrofit. Deliver it cleanly, and the operations program supervisor role is yours." I looked up, stunned. "Officially mine?" "Yes," he said, without hesitation. "This client alone is worth more than $200,000 a quarter. 0 deviations, and I'll make sure you're promoted." The words landed deeper than he knew. After a brutal divorce and starting over in Minneapolis, I needed something solid to anchor myself. "Then I'll deliver," I told him. He smiled like a man who believed the outcome already belonged to him. From that point on, my life narrowed to the project. Friends stopped asking me out. Weekends disappeared inside the plant. My mother called one Sunday and sighed, saying I sounded exhausted. I told her it mattered. And it did. The Aurora retrofit was relentless. Tight tolerances, endless revisions, 2 near disasters. Once when a supplier delayed a critical shipment, once when an engineer uploaded the wrong design revision. Both times Grant called me at dawn, demanding I fix it like I was the only person capable of holding everything together. And I did. I rerouted orders, rebuilt schedules, calmed a furious client ready to cancel. When it was over, Grant stood in a production meeting and announced we stayed on track thanks to decisive leadership. He never looked at me. I confronted him later. "You could have acknowledged what actually happened." He waved it off. "Everyone knows you're reliable. Your moment will come." And I believed him. Every hour, every inspection, every emergency I resolved, I tied to the future he promised me. By the 4th month, the project was flawless. Every audit passed, every delivery early. The client's quality director called and asked for me by name, thanking me for saving the rollout and promising a formal letter to leadership. When it arrived, Grant opened it first. "Good work," he said casually, slipping it into his stack. I asked for a copy. Later, I saw my work woven into his report under leadership achievements, my name buried in a footnote. When I confronted him, he brushed it off again. "The promotion conversation is coming. Everything will make sense." On the morning of the division meeting, colleagues stopped by my desk to wish me luck. I believed them. I believed him. When Grant announced the promotion and said Marissa Cole's name instead of mine, the room shifted uncomfortably. She spoke nervously, misusing terminology, unaware of the tension. Grant applauded proudly. Afterward, technicians told me quietly that it should have been me. Grant stopped me in the hallway. "Be a team player. Help her adjust." I asked, "Adjusting to what?" He told me not to make things difficult. Headquarters backing. I understood exactly how it worked. I found him later in his office. "You promised me that role," I said. He denied it. I showed him the email. He dismissed it as emotion, called me indispensable, reliable, low ego. "That's why this is so out of character for you," he said. I told him the project defined my future, and it did, just not the way he expected. When I finally printed the resignation, it felt lighter than it should have, like a weight had slipped away. Grant was on the phone when I entered. He raised a finger for me to wait. I didn't. I placed the letter on his desk. He ended the call mid-sentence. "What is this?" "My resignation," I said, keeping my voice even. "Effective immediately. Good luck, Grant." The words landed harder than any argument could have. He blinked as if he needed time to process a reality he never expected. "Averly, stop. You are not doing this. You are upset. Sit down." "No," I said. He tore the letter open, eyes darting across the page. "This is ridiculous. You don't quit over one decision." "It was not one decision," I said. "It was every decision that led here." His denial came quickly. "You are overreacting. We can fix this. I can adjust responsibilities, maybe move you into a senior coordinator role." "No." He shoved back from his desk so abruptly his chair slammed into the cabinet behind him. "You cannot walk out. You are essential to Aurora. Marissa is nowhere near ready. The clients depend on you." "That sounds like your problem, not mine." Panic flashed next, sharp and unfiltered. "Averly, be reasonable. Think about your future. Think about stability. No other firm will hire someone who quits under pressure." There it was, the intimidation, the final card he believed he could play. I stepped back toward the door. "I am not the one under pressure, Grant." His voice rose, anger replacing fear. "If you leave, do not expect a reference from me. You are burning your own career." "I think I will be fine." He stood there gripping the paper, breathing hard, as if he finally understood what he had lost. I turned and walked out without waiting for anything else. For the first time in years, my mind felt quiet, clear, free. Behind me, Grant's voice didn't follow. His panic stayed in the room, and I left it there. I had been gone for only 3 days when the first message reached me. It was from Marissa. "Averly, do you have a second? I'm trying to interpret an engineering change order, and I think I'm reading it wrong." I stared at the screen. She had been given a role she never earned, and now she was drowning in responsibilities she did not understand. I typed back, "I cannot assist. You need to speak with Grant or engineering." Not even an hour later, a second message arrived, this time from a major aerospace client. "Averly, we have noticed several delays and conflicting updates. Can you clarify what is happening on North Star's end?" I read the message twice before replying. "I am no longer with North Star Precision. You will need to contact their current operations supervisor." A pause. Then the client wrote, "That explains a lot." By that afternoon, my LinkedIn began filling with quiet, almost uneasy notes. A machinist. "Things are going sideways. Nobody knows who is responsible for what anymore." A scheduler. "Grant keeps snapping at people. He says everything is under control, but nothing is a quality engineer." Marissa asked me what a deviation report is. I thought she was joking. I did not respond to any of them. I would not be pulled back into a place that had already taken so much. The next morning, another message came in, this one from the vice president who once praised Grant's leadership. "Averly, I need to verify something. Were you the primary lead on Aurora?" I typed back carefully. "Yes, I managed all workflows and client communication for its entire duration." She replied, "Thank you. That aligns with what we are uncovering." Uncovering. The word lingered. A day later, someone from North Star called, but hung up before the voicemail started. another crack in the facade. Grant was still trying to make the lie hold, but the weight of everything he built on my back was starting to come loose, piece by piece. The call came on a Wednesday morning, 2 weeks after I left North Star Precision. I didn't recognize the number, but I answered anyway. "Is this Averly Rhodes?" a calm voice asked. "Yes, it is. My name is Daniel Soren, director at Summit Craft Machining. We were given your name by a medical device client who spoke very highly of your leadership on the Aurora retrofit project." I sank into my chair. "I appreciate that. I am no longer with North Star." "That is exactly why I'm calling," he said. "We have an opening for a program lead in operations, real authority, autonomy, and fair compensation. I would like to discuss it with you if you are open." I let out a soft breath. "You want an interview?" "No," Daniel said. "I want you." The client said, "You carried work worth more than $200,000 without a single deviation. People like that do not appear often." The directness stunned me for a moment. I could not speak. He continued, "If you are interested, we would like to bring you in this week. I believe you will find Summit Craft different from where you came from." After we set a time, I stared at my reflection in the dark screen of my laptop. I wasn't hesitating because I doubted them. I hesitated because I finally understood how low North Star had kept the ceiling above my head. During the interview, Daniel asked one question that cut straight through me. "What do you need in order to thrive?" No one at North Star had ever asked me anything like that. By the end of the afternoon, they offered me the position. "I accept," I said, surprising myself with how steady my voice sounded. My first week at Summit Craft passed without a single emergency call, no late-night texts, no sudden crises, no dread creeping into Sunday evenings. I felt like a person again, not a patch for everyone else's mistakes. But I also knew peace never lasts long when the past still has loose ends. 3 months into my new role at Summit Craft, I received an email from an unfamiliar address at North Star Precision. The subject line read, "Internal Audit Inquiry." I almost deleted it, but something told me to open it. "Ms. Rhodes," the message began, "we are reviewing several inconsistencies in quarterly reports tied to the Aurora retrofit project. Your name appears repeatedly in our document trail. We request a brief call." I replied with a time, expecting a tense conversation. Instead, the auditor, a man named Calvin Brooks, sounded almost relieved when I answered. "Thank you for speaking with me," he said. "We have found mismatched data in Mr. Kellerman's submissions. We need to confirm who managed specific workflows." "I managed all of them," I said. "Every schedule adjustment, every supplier correction, every quality deviation." Calvin paused. "That helps clarify a lot. What exactly is happening?" I asked. He exhaled slowly. "Grant reported inflated budget numbers, shifted timelines to protect his own metrics, and listed several process improvements under his leadership, but the supporting documentation points to you." I kept my voice calm. "I can provide full records." "Please do," he said. "Your transparency will be critical to this review." I spent the evening sending organized files, emails, logs, audit sheets. Nothing rewritten, nothing embellished, just the truth. 2 days later, Calvin called back. "The board has been informed," he said. "And there's something else. Marissa admitted she was placed in the supervisor role due to pressure from headquarters. This opens another layer of review." I leaned back in my chair. I had no part in any of that. "We know," he replied. "Grant will be facing formal hearings." I ended the call feeling neither vindicated nor angry, just settled. Grant had built a career on borrowed credit, and now the debts were coming due. The final update from North Star arrived on a Monday morning, tucked between routine emails about machining schedules and supplier quotes. I opened it without emotion, the way you might open a letter from a life you no longer belong to. The message was brief. Grant Kellerman has been terminated following confirmed fraudulent reporting. He is prohibited from holding leadership positions in manufacturing for 3 years. Daniel, my director at Summitcraft, noticed the way I stopped typing. "Everything all right?" "Yes," I said, "just closure." Another email followed shortly after, this one from Marissa. Her tone was quiet, stripped of the breezy confidence she once carried. "Averly, I have been reassigned to an entry-level compliance position. They said I need proper grounding before taking on responsibility again. I wanted to tell you I am sorry. I should never have accepted that role the way I did." I replied simply, "I hope you learn what you need to grow." She wrote back, "I intend to." Later that week, a letter came through the mailroom at Summitcraft. 2 former engineers from North Star had signed it. "Thank you for never bending your integrity to match the politics around you," it read. "We stayed because we believed in people like you. We hope your new team sees your worth in ways ours never did." I folded the letter carefully and placed it in my drawer. No triumph, no bitterness, just a quiet truth settling into place. Grant had not been undone by me, he had been undone by the shortcuts he believed no one would ever notice. At Summitcraft, I stepped into a new role, leading a multi-million-dollar operations program. My team listened, respected the work, and treated me like someone who belonged at the helm, not in the shadows. When I walked out of North Star, I did it because a broken promise tried to break me.